Once upon a time, in the 80s and the early 90s, video game arcades were the place to be for fun and thrills. That is, until home consoles became the norm and a paradigm shift in the industry pushed those coin-sucking experiences into the living room. And with Nintendo consoles dominating the home quarters, it makes sense that publishers would push their games where the consoles were being played. So here are the 10 best Super Nintendo arcade ports, ranked. Number 10. Acrobat Mission. Every console at the time needed some vertical shooters, and Acrobat Mission flew into homes with a bang. Everything players want from an arcade cabinet is preserved to the best of the Super Nintendo's ability, with sharp sounds, beautiful graphics, and addictive arcade action that keeps players coming back to make more progress and top their high scores. Number 9. Miss PacMan. Bringing the ghost-gobbling, maze-crawling classic to the small screen with better looks, sounds, and crystal-smooth scrolling isn't easy, but they managed it. While far from being her first trip into the world of home consoles, the Super Nintendo version takes full advantage of the horsepower under the hood to deliver an experience that directly challenges the arcade cabinet over which is superior. The maps are bright and colourful, giving added layers of implied dimension and depth thanks to the Super Nintendo's increased colour palette, aided by the screen scrolling to give a wider sense of scale and increased difficulty to the gameplay. For one of the finest versions of this iconic game, the SNES version of Miss PacMan is tough to beat. Number 8. Knights of the Round. To side-scroll and consume quarters was the way of the arcade machines during the 90s, from the medieval and gothic to licensed characters and movie tie-ins. Knights of the Round is squarely in the former, with players hacking, slashing and beating knights, thugs and monsters to oblivion in the name of King Arthur and the Round Table. For an adventurous romp through a beloved fantasy setting, Knights of the Round brings the swords, the shields and plenty of mead to the action. Number 7. Street Fighter 2. Younger generations might not even know that Capcom's iconic Street Fighter series was once an arcade cabinet. Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo alone has nearly half a dozen different versions, with altered mechanics, physics, stages and character rosters to set each apart from one another in meaningful ways. The transition from arcade to home console was a smooth one, bringing the gameplay mechanics and beloved characters to the household and propelling the franchise to greater heights than ever before. The various SNES ports of Street Fighter 2 didn't just make the game more popular, they cemented the series as a household name. Number 6. UN Squadron. Jets, anti-air missiles, bombs and carrier craft aplenty blew through the cabinet machines and onto the home screen. Based on a then popular manga series, players take to the skies as one of 3 characters to stop an armed terrorist force bent on unleashing chaos, collecting weapons and currency to level up and acquire better equipment between stages. With this added layer of customization and depth, UN Squadron flies high compared to many arcade shooters of the era, and the replay value is through the roof. With plenty to see, shoot and unlock, UN Squadron will keep players coming back repeatedly to see every weapon combination and use every tool on offer. Number 5. NBA Jam. Come on and slam and welcome to the jam. The smash hit arcade basketball game bounded towards home and portable consoles to varying degrees of success, but the Super Nintendo version was among the best of them all. Emphasizing flair and style over realism and simulation, NBA Jam makes every free throw, slam dunk and point scored a major celebration, with comedic commentary from the announcers accompanying every play. NBA Jam is the lively experience that basketball can excel at, cranked up to 11. Number 4. Smash TV. Smash TV is simplicity turned into sheer beauty, an overhead shooter where players clear rooms to rack up points for an in-universe game show, one horde of villains, thugs and mutants at a time. As the game goes on, enemies become spongier and more numerous. The human enemies give way to the inhuman and unspeakable as every power-up and inch of legroom is needed to reach its full potential to stay alive and progress forward. The difficulty ramps up smoothly with the absurdity, and the game refuses to let players look away from the mayhem. Smash TV isn't just an arcade game, it's an experience like no other. Number 3. Sunset Riders. What better setting for a side-scrolling arcade shoot 'em up than the Old West? The levels, characters and effects are bright, well modelled and a fabulous feast for the eyes as players progress through train robberies, ghost towns and high noon shootouts to rack up their high scores. Number 2. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time takes the popular 4-player arcade hit and translates it into a 2-player time-travelling romp that looks, feels and sounds like it came straight from the cartoon itself. All the expected villains and their goons are present and accounted for, hurtling themselves and the turtles through time as part of Shredder's latest dastardly scheme. With all the action and attitude that comes with the territory, these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles aren't playing games, and they won't stop until old Shredhead gets what's coming to him. Number 1. Mortal Kombat 2. There's controversy, and then there's instigating senatorial hearings about the levels of violence on display in video games. Mortal Kombat shook the industry, led to the birth of the ESRB rating system, and ate millions of quarters across thousands of arcades. The port of Mortal Kombat 2 on Super Nintendo uses the expanded button layout to great effect, effectively bringing the attack combo-focused combat to the small screen while retaining its difficulty, soundtrack, and most of the violence of the arcade original. Everybody wanted to play Mortal Kombat, and the kid on the block with the console port would soon be swarmed by every one of his peers, desperate to see what the controversy was all about. Mortal Kombat 2 was more than a good video game, it was a cultural zeitgeist with everyone's attention, and it bloody well knew it. And that's the list. Yeah, I know your favourite isn't on here, but that's why we have a comment section so you can share your favourites and encourage us to go and play them. While you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons so you're notified whenever we've got new stuff for you to watch. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, cheers my dears.